Edgar Valdez Villarreal, commonly known as La Barbie, is a former Mexican-American drug lord and was a high-ranking lieutenant of the Beltrán Leyva Cartel, which is now defunct. Valdez is currently incarcerated at USP Coleman II in Florida, where he's serving a 49-year term. But recently, the question of whether the cartel enforcer was a U.S. informant came to light. And in today's video, I'll be sharing everything about whether La Barbie was an informant or not. Stay tuned. When Edgar Valdez Villarreal was a kid, the other kids in the middle-class neighborhood ridiculed him, calling him Barbie because, well, he resembled a Ken doll. The moniker stuck, and 3 decades later it was linked to brutal gangland murders. Few people would have predicted Edgar Valdez Villarreal, a square-jawed football standout at United High School, would go on to become one of Mexico's most ruthless and feared cartel lords. None of the stereotyped foundations of crime could be seen in his youth. No shattered household, no violent father, no poverty. On the other hand, his father was a downtown Laredo store owner and emphasized faith, hard work, and the importance of a college education. He was raised in a well-kept brick house with a wooden swing set in the backyard. According to neighbors and relatives, most of his siblings went to college and founded businesses, becoming the type of law-abiding citizen that formed the foundation of society. His older brother, Abel Valdez Jr., said, "Edgar chose that crowd. We are a good family." According to the authorities in the United States and Mexico, La Barbie, 37, moved to Mexico after being indicted in the 1990s on charges of dealing marijuana and rose quickly to become a violent leader in the Beltrán Leyva gang. At the helm of a corps of gunmen engaged in almost constant warfare with other cartels. He is the only American known to have climbed to that power level inside of the Mexican cartels. Edgar Valdez Villarreal was a crucial figure in the fight between the Sinaloa and Gulf cartels to control the lucrative I-35 smuggling corridor into the United States just a few years ago. He's also thought to be the driving force for the conflict's expansion into central and southern Mexico, culminating in the takeover of Acapulco. After a gunfight in the foothills northwest of Mexico City in 2010, La Barbie was apprehended by scores of federal police personnel. According to law enforcement officials, despite multi-million-dollar bounties on his head, he eluded investigators for years, and his detention was seen as a severe blow to the Beltrán Leyva organized crime network. In 2015, he was extradited to the United States. He later reached a plea deal with the U.S. authorities after initially pleading not guilty, and was sentenced to nearly 50 years in prison in June 2018. La Barbie had been fighting for leadership of the gang for months, and ever since its leader and mentor Arturo Beltrán Leyva was murdered in a gun battle with Mexican Marines in Cuernavaca, just south of the city last December. La Barbie was set against Mr. Beltrán Leyva's brother, Hector, in an inter-family feud. Over 150 people have died due to the conflict. Many of them were disfigured or beheaded and left with gruesome messages for the opposing side. It was recently revealed that, while working as a coke trafficker for the Beltrán Leyva cartel, Edgar Valdez Villarreal worked with the Drug Enforcement Administration and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Everyone was taken aback by this. The information was only recently made public after court documents from Valdez's 2018 sentencing hearing in Atlanta, Georgia, were declassified. According to new court filings, a top-ranking Mexican criminal enforcer functioned as an informant before his arrest. Still, questions remain regarding the extent of cooperation that he actually provided U.S. officials. According to an investigation based on court documents obtained by Anabel Hernandez and published in Aristikui Noticias, La Barbie allegedly provided crucial information to the Drug Enforcement Administration and to the FBI between 2008 and 2010. According to that report, La Barbie allegedly shared information on corrupt Mexican officials and their sharing of sensitive intelligence with members of the Sinaloa cartel and also the Beltrán Leyva organization while cooperating with U.S. investigators. Furthermore, according to that report, La Barbie allegedly witnessed corrupt officials from the former President Felipe Calderón's administration providing cartels with the identities, images, and positions of undercover DEA agents throughout Mexico. According to the article, one of La Barbie's most crucial efforts was passing along a tip that helped Mexican soldiers to track down and assassinate his former boss, Arturo Beltrán Leyva. If that's true, his work for the U.S. in the beginning of 2008 would have coincided with the disintegration of the alliance between the Sinaloa cartel and the Beltrán Leyva organization, finally leading to a violent battle. After the assassination of the son's now-detained former Sinaloa cartel kingpin Joaquin Guzman Loera, alias El Chapo, violence erupted in the Sinaloa state cartel Culiacan before spreading across Mexico. Barbie was set to play a crucial role in the impending trial of GENARO Garcia Luna, Mexico's former top security official from 2006 to 2012, who was detained in December 2019 by U.S. authorities on coke charges and for accepting millions of bribes from coke traffickers. The facts regarding Barbie's suspected assistance with U.S. agents raise more concerns than they end up answering, and it is unclear how far he went. I agree with what Mike Vigil, the DEA's former head of international operations, said. He said, "If he had been cooperating and providing any credible information, they wouldn't have given him so much jail time." And sure, that's true. If he was working as a U.S. informant, then he would be given a less lengthy jail term. Also, if the DEA was getting this type of information from Barbie, I'm surprised the operation wasn't, blown up sooner. Furthermore, Garcia Luna's arrest occurred more than a decade after Barbie's cooperation began. Barbie was not your run-of-the-mill thief, if you believe it. According to Felba Brown, getting 50 years for being such a valuable asset would be a horrible plea bargain. There's a glaring mismatch between the length of the sentence and what information he reportedly supplied, she says. In the past, well-known coke traffickers in Mexico have obtained short terms in exchange for their assistance. Despite supposedly being a vital link between Colombia's Norte de Valle cartel and Mexico's Sinaloa cartel, Sandra V.A. Beltrán, dubbed the Queen of the Pacific, was released only after 7 years in prison due to her collaboration. Barbie acquired renown for being a top-level enforcer and scaring his adversaries. At times, he videotaped them being tortured and murdered, in addition to being a well-known coke trafficker. His severe prison sentence conveyed a powerful message at the time, and the amount of collaboration is actually questioned. Furthermore, Barbie was imprisoned in Mexico for 5 years before being extradited. If he was genuinely supplying important information on high-impact players who could have ordered his execution in Mexico's out-of-control prisons, Barbie and the DEA would have wanted to get out of the country as soon as possible. Given his important role in Mexico's criminal world, Barbie's cooperation in the prosecution against Garcia Luna is sure to frighten several corrupt government and security officers. The claims against the former cartel lord further muddy the lines of what's been described as a clear-cut struggle in Mexico against organized crime, with the U.S.-Mexican governments on one side and criminal organizations on the other. In actuality, the case of Barbie demonstrates that two sides interact a lot more frequently. Perhaps Barbie is serving a lengthy sentence because the knowledge he provided will have no impact on organized criminal dynamics. Maybe Barbie is serving a long term because the information he provided, won't impact any actual crime dynamics. Valdez also stated that Calderón, the president who launched the so-called War on Coke immediately after taking office in late 2006, had personally met with coke dealers in the letter published in November 2012 by the daily Reforma. Valdez most likely shared this information with the DEA and the FBI between 2008 and 2010, according to Hernandez. Calderón's crackdown on cartels, according to a lawyer for Valdez, was a quote-unquote war for coke rather than a war against coke. Valdez said in a letter to Hernandez that his arrest in Mexico in 2010 was a result of a refusal to comply with Calderón. He said, "My imprisonment was a consequence of the political persecution by Felipe Calderón Hinojosa, who began harassing me because I refused to participate in Mr. Calderón Hinojosa's deal with all organized crime groups." Calderón has categorically denied any affiliation with criminal organizations and has stated that he's unaware of Garcia Luna's suspected cartel collaboration. And now, over to you, the faithful comment section and viewers. Is Calderón involved in criminal groups? Let us know what you think in the comment section down below. And yeah, that's going to be it for today's video. Thank you guys for watching. Do give this video a like and, if you could, subscribe to our channel, hit the bell icon, all that good stuff. Later.